Okay, looks like I'm recording.
Yeah, same.
Still says I don't have permission. Did this last meeting too.
Are you doing local or cloud recording?
There's an option.
Hmm.
Recording.
I had that issue last round.
Yeah, same.
So by now, everyone they have.
I am not, but as long as multiples of you are, I think that's probably okay.
I think we'll be fine, yeah. So there's 4 people recording, as you see right now.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Awesome.
So we can get started.
I think so. Does anybody need a minute? No?
So what's the format? Do you want to agree on?
Usually go in a, everyone do a quick intro and let us know if you are trying to get voted forward to the next round. Something like that.
All right.
Do it.
I'll go first. We're probably not seeing the same screen in the same order. So I'm Leonard, developer at Consortium and CTF. I am trying to get elected to the next round. Not here just to vote. And I have a presentation, so yeah, for whenever we get into discussion.
Okay. I'm John. I'm a developer, founder at Boyd.com, and you've probably seen EOS PowerUp.io and a few other projects that I've worked on. And I am not intending to move forward to the next round.
Right, I will start next. I'm Anas Al-Harbi, and I'm Queen Bee of EOS Bees Arabia. I'm representing EOS Bees. Bear in mind, both me and Jesse won the first round, as far as I know. And I'm not pursuing the next stage. If that's, it will be Jesse to proceed more.
My name is Aaron Cox. I'm one of the founders at Gray Mass. I'm a developer, and I am running on a platform, though I'm not. I mean, I'm happy to move on, but I'm also happy to have other people run on our behalf.
My name's Kenny. I started EOS Writer 2018, I think it was. Went on to do Crypto Writer, worked with Voice. Now we're knee deep in NFTs with Finny. I was thinking about moving forward until I saw Jester in the group. Big fan of Grey Mass and everything Jester's done, so I'll be voting for him, I imagine.
I'm Josh Anderson. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Ava. I also come from 20 plus years of enterprise architecture and strategy across the corporate enterprise world. There are very few Fortune 100 companies that haven't had my fingers somewhere in their architecture or their future roadmaps at some point. My interest here is on the development of the EOS blockchain and Ava, which is one of the largest corporate or companies that are public on the blockchain. And I will be looking to move forward.
Awesome. Do we want to establish like an order just so that way we know where we're going, since our pictures are not necessarily in the same order for everyone? Could do like alphabetical or something.
Yeah, we could just do the same order we did the intros in, right?
That works too. Let's do it.
So Lennar, you want to give us a little pitch?
Yes.
Cool.
Cool. I'm going to share my screen. I need screen sharing like basically from the host and its screen sharing capability. We could do that real quick. Gonna do a presentation, and it's gonna be 5 minutes. If you feel like I'm going too long, wasting time, just cut me off. That's fine. Anyways, could the host try to give me screen sharing, please?
Who is the host?
Should be just under participants, right click on my name and
Excuse me. Should I allow what? No.
maybe the second person can go first and I'll go after that, and we can figure out the screen sharing. If who is second?
Will be John.
John, yeah. Would you mind going first? We'll figure out if, unless you need screen sharing.
Okay. I have some notes from my last round that you know, things that I'm advocating for. So whoever I vote for, I would ask that they would pass this along and help to support these projects. And also just, I guess my platform is just the idea that I actually, at this stage, I actually don't think that Eden should be directly funding big projects. I think Eden should mostly just focus on focusing on itself and growing Eden and more soft things like marketing and support. So like EOSBs and the EOS support project, things like that. And I think it's more important that we vote the right people to the top of Eden as opposed to the right projects. Because we want to keep the kind of transparency and the structure that has been established by the from the trial elections, I think is good, and we could continue that. So Joshua and Chris, for example, I think have done a really good job in their current positions. And so yeah, that's kind of my perspective, I guess. And people I was in the last group, they were asking for some things. So like, you know, funding the German translation of More Equal Animals, which I think is already in progress. So it's just a matter of finishing that up, which I think is a good use of, I think that's an example of a good thing that Eden should be funding at this stage. And also there's the EOS project, which is a privacy coin that's kind of leveraging the popularity of the POS token. And while I don't think that Eden should be responsible for funding this, you know, I think Pomelo is a good fit for these kind of projects. I do think a symbolic funding amount to projects from Eden helps to spread the word about Eden. You know, they'll put funded by Eden on their website and things like that, and also get them talking about the project on these like weekly Eden calls, increasing the transparency of how these projects are funded. So EOS is an example of one of these small one-person projects that Eden could help fund to just a little bit. And it would be a good example of supporting the little guy and funding these smaller projects. So those are my thoughts as a voter.
Thank you.
Then I give you the host. I
Yeah.
think you can share your screen now.
Yeah, I got the screen share. So anyways, again, got me off if you feel like shit. So try to get it full screen. Awesome. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Awesome. So Eden election 1. Take a moment to introduce myself more properly. So studied finance at Stockholm School of Economics. Started my career in investment management, moved on to be a team lead at a San Francisco startup building a product recommendation AI. On EOS, I'm a co-founder and front-end developer for 2 EOS projects, Consortium and CTF. as I mentioned. So I worked on them for the last 2 years. Done some smart contract development for toy projects, but mostly web developer. Regarding the election itself, should I be elected, funding will be mostly used to further develop Consortium and CTF. And in the upcoming slides, I'll try to explain the dApps, how they benefit Eden members, and what exactly would be done with the funding. So let's start with CTF, so cryptocurrency exchange traded fund. So new Eden and EOS community members always have the same questions. So which token should I buy? How much should I buy? When should I sell? Because they don't know any of our projects. And to eliminate that, we started CTF and EOS ETF. So you can think of EOS ETF as a fund. So you have 13 mainnet tokens that get packed into the EOS ETF token, and people can buy one token and be invested in 13 projects. That's great because you don't have to think about what to buy, or you just buy the fund, and you don't have to worry about missing out on projects or holding on to ones that are going down. Because fund managers do the analysis for you. They buy good projects, sell bad ones, and in summary, you just get to own a great portfolio without doing much research. That's the current state. You can create EOS ETF at eosetf.io. You can also redeem it back into the original tokens. And there's a chart for the current token allocation on the site. So price of EOS ETF, just to explain the project a bit, it's been pegged to the price of the tokens it consists of, because the token is traded on DeFi box. So anyone can do arbitrage, and they're doing it manually and already via trading bots. Traction so far for the project is basically launched 6 months ago. 35 people invested in the fund, creating 30,000 USD worth of EOS ETF. There are 5 people in the multisig, 2 core developers and 3 investors, and currently there's 115 people holding it. So the plans for the future, after we fully develop EOS ETF, our plan is to scale the solution. So we want anyone to be able to create and manage their own ETFs. And once like synthetic and wrapped tokens become more popular, it's possible to create all kinds of ETFs. So you could add tokens from other chains, tokens that represent real estate, stocks, commodities, and etc. But having all that in one token would be like the holy grail of finance. So for funding, I already got elected in the first round, but I need to go through the points that I'll build. So we'll build automatic rebalancing based on fund managers' votes and the new EOI for that. So started building it, and in a few months we want to onboard the fund managers for the fund. And so basically it'll let you automatically buy and sell tokens through DeFi box based on how the portfolio managers vote. And we'll also add a stable coin to the fund, so fund managers could like completely exit the market positions at the peak. It's a neat little trick. So if I got elected in the second round, we'd do everything we mentioned previously, and we could also pay for code audits to make it like a more legitimate ETF. We'd also probably try to add more liquidity to the pool. And if I win the third round, then everything mentioned previously, and we'd be able to add full-time developers to build a protocol that would enable anyone on EOS to create and manage their own ETFs. Now the second project, if no one minds, so Consortium. So some of you may have seen it. It's the first app that we built. It's an on-chain polling app. less communities on the mainnet use their tokens or one person, one vote system to vote in the polls to create. And we launched it 2 years ago, and more than 10,000 votes have been casted. At this point, there are more than 1,500 accounts that have interacted with that. So everyone on the consortium has their community feed with their polls, and you get government rewards for voting and creating popular polls. And you can then stake government to like for your community and increase the amount of rewards that your whole community gets for interacting with the site, so polling and voting. That's the most relevant slide. So we recently added a claiming tool to consortium. So it lets Eden members claim various EOS mainnet tokens, and to be seen as like an UVI for Eden members. And already over 60 members have claimed their tokens. So yeah, consortium is a working solution, needs more traction before we develop it further. But with all the great news on EOS recently, to expect more users. And we thought about catering consortium to communities on Eden as well. So we could add new Eden communities to consortium automatically. Yeah, to sum up, if I get elected, we'll build a fully functional EOS ETF with fund managers that will solve investment worries for Eden and EOS members, and also help maintain consortium and improve governance on EOS. And I will obviously participate in Eden's meetings, think of possible bylaws, and review bylaws of others. Thank you. I hope I didn't use up too much of your time.
Thank you. So I will not take longer from your time. I will just update you. Maybe you miss what is going on with the EOSBs in two things. Currently, it is running 12 sives, languages. And the second thing that all of the payout to all of the Bs, it will be audited, it will be on the chain itself, so it will be on EOS. So there is a chance of showing how verifying the transaction of all of these groups, how they will conduct it on the chain. I will leave the floor for the rest because I think 22 minutes remaining and nothing to add from my end.
I think I was up next. Yeah. Just jump in. The platform we're running on right now is onboarding for all of EOS. Just for the past, I want to say 8 months or so, we've been creating accounts in iOS exclusively. And just yesterday we expanded our account creation to all platforms. And we also brought a web platform online. And our pitch is that we want to expand this web platform to make it not only accessible through this one website that we have, which is create.anchor.link, if you wanted to check it out. We want to make it so that any dApp can onboard new users. Perfect example being Eden. Imagine if you were signing up for Eden, you can log in with your favorite wallet. If you could make your account for EOS during the Eden signup process, that's the fundamental building blocks we want to be able to create. We want people to be able to create accounts during flows like that, or if they're on their favorite NFT trading platform, or if they're on an exchange, or if they're on any EOS powered application. Create an experience that works with any type of platform that integrates with EOS. You can log in and sign transactions, but you need that account first. So what we want to do is take the existing protocols that we've created and we want to expand those out so that way all of these other applications can onboard their own users, whether it's the application paying for it themselves or the user paying for it by themselves. This also includes adding things like crypto payments. Right now, the only option we have in our system currently is using fiat. We use Stripe right now, credit card processing, but we want to be able to open that up so that way if you're on EOS, you could use EOS tokens or maybe some stable coin if EOS really adopts one of them. So yeah, that's the essence of our pitch. We've created a lot of the building blocks and we are planning on creating a lot more. but prioritizing those efforts with our relatively small team is difficult, and funding would go a long way to helping us expand the group potentially by one or two to work on these initiatives and help us deliver this faster. So that way all EOS applications could benefit from this work, rather than, you know, if you ran an application, you'd have to send them off site right now to create an account. I mean, onboarding is quite the headache. So our focus is on onboarding.
Thanks, Aaron. Kenny, I think you were before me, if you wanted to say anything.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to pitch anything. I'm not going to run. Just to follow on from what Jester was saying, I think account creation has been the Achilles heel of EOS over the years. I mean, even if we created like this incredible DApp that everyone wanted to use, it was just trying to get the users into it. It just doesn't scale. So I think it would be a great use of funds to try and just get it working seamlessly, like a lot of other blockchains do at the moment. So yeah,
I will say, to my own detriment and the possibility of advancing, we plan on doing this anyways, but like being able to prioritize this kind of stuff would go a long way. I mean, what you've seen us accomplish over the years is primarily done by 3 developers. So we need to expand before we burn out.
Yeah,
So
I think this type of tech it would have been great if it was, you know, happening if it was live 2 years ago. So the sooner we get it up, the better.
It's a common story in this ecosystem so far.
So I'll try to use the little bit of time we have. So, you know, I come from Ava. For people that don't know who Ava is a company that was founded on the EOS blockchain in Canada. Raphael Gaudreau is our CEO and been largely engaged in the EOS community. Our entire platform delivers on ride sharing and delivery. We are, through our first round of funding, we are going into our next round of funding. We believe we will be one of the biggest applications running out there in the ecosystem on blockchain anywhere that's not based on fintech or the cryptocurrency itself. What we've done is something innovative, and I think we all say change the world, but we actually are going to change very immediately the enterprise world. And what we're doing is we're unlocking a model where the franchises are owned by our employees. And we're doing that by issuance of tokens to create a shared economy between the corporate world, the enterprise, and the socially responsible community. And we're able to create a kind of a harmonious connection between those two worlds, which I think is lacking in the conversation of crypto and what it can unlock for the global society. There's a stepping stone that we have to build upon, and largely that comes from the enterprise world, where most of the people of the world still engage and still are employed and still drive the economies of today. So if we can connect these worlds, we can unlock accessibility. We talked about, for whether it be onboarding, whether it be opening up tools that make blockchain, or I should say demystify blockchain from a development perspective for those that don't come from the crypto world. I think that would open a lot of opportunities. So from our perspective, it's about growing Ava, which by nature grows EOS community and commitments. We are expanding globally, so I think there's a lot of opportunity there. We are looking to engage Eden in our driver communities. So because we're drivers are community owned, we can leverage the governance policy of Eden to create a mirror community within our driver pools and allow them to run elections for how they manage their cooperatives, how they distribute funds, how we run pricing, some of these core decisions that have to be driven from the franchise. And I think if you look at this all bundled together, I think we can bring some really exciting energy to the EOS community through Ava and the successes we're seeing. But I also, from my personal standpoint, and if elected, I have a broader interest in the marketing and, more importantly, as I said, the accessibility of EOS to the broader community And I think I'm an interesting bridge for that, because I don't come from that world. I come from the enterprise. I come from the corporate world, consulting world. And I'm joining Eva, and I'm joining EOS as an outsider, but with shared values. And I think I can help bridge those two worlds and bring those conversations and bridge those technologies where I think people that are embedded in this world don't necessarily see it. So I hope to bring an alternative perspective, but ultimately I'm just excited to have these conversations and be with all of you guys. I think this is, as I said on the first round, I'll say it again here, it's so fun just to hear about all the things that are being done. So for me, whether I get advanced or not, I just appreciate all you guys and what we've been talking about. Thank you. So last time we got into questions, I don't know, do we want to just openly talk, or what do we want to do next?
Has everyone kind of had their pitch? Who wants to move forward?
Sounds like it.
Question for you, Joshua. Has Ava, I've always called it Eva. Has Ava, have you received funding? Have you done a funding round?
Yeah. So by the way, I call Eva too. My daughter is Eva. So when I began conversations about joining them potentially, I'd said, well, my daughter is Eva, so I have to join, but you guys have to change your name. But it's French Canadian in Montreal. Yes, we just finished. I actually joined as part of the private equity group that made the investment. So my involvement as the chief technology officer comes from my involvement with private equity. So I am, in part, I'm both obviously helping run the organization, but also representative of that funding round. And then we are actively in our next round of funding right now. So that will be executed within the next year. We're gonna, well, I shouldn't say it, that funding takes time, but in theory, we're on the pipe to start the next round of funding early next year. It's going to be an ongoing battle to continue, but this next funding round is about expansion internationally. So we're targeting Chile, South Korea, we're targeting Japan, we're targeting Kosovo, US, Canada. We have quite a bit.
And so the token will run, or does run, on EOS blockchain?
It does. So right now, we're, just to be totally transparent, we're on our private blockchain. But as part of this funding, what Raf and I have already discussed it, the level of funding would encourage us, we'd move to the public, the mainnet. And that, I think, is an interesting opportunity, is if we can port all of Ava, which for us isn't a huge issue, to the mainnet. I think that's a whole nother opportunity in itself, but I don't want to stipulate as part of this process that be the case, right? Just from a funding perspective, I just don't want to overcommit, right?
Yeah, I think Ava has made great progress, and there's a lot of projects that started around the same time as Ava and have not made it, so it's great to see Ava raising funds and making and doing well. But I think at this stage for Eden, we really have to focus on the ground floor. We have to stay local, and local is like funding things that we're intimately involved with on a day-to-day basis, and things like that, and kind of softer skills, I think, actually. So that's
I would never encourage one to go against their views. I think there's different ways to approach it, but I value your view for sure.
Yeah, and also just the amount of funding that we have available for you at this point wouldn't, for a group your size, wouldn't make a huge impact. And there's smaller groups where it could make a large impact, I think, at this stage.
It could, although I would argue for ones that we're bigger than the smallest, but we're not immune to loss as well, right? In everything, it takes a lot of money, and in our industry, it takes far more than most of these other companies to run. We have human assets we have to pay, and we are doing so in a model that is more profitable to the drivers. So where margins are even smaller than Uber and DoorDash, and they're losing money. So for us, as a deep partner for EOS community, and one of the originals built on it. This is where we're saying, we're one of the biggest. This may be a good idea to keep us, moving. However, Aaron said it too. We're going to
Well,
pursue our
okay,
business
well, I mean,
regardless, right? We're all going to pursue it. So I don't want to say like we're at risk.
yeah, but
yeah.
your angle here, you're like, I don't want to go back and forth on this because I think everyone,
yeah, totally.
but I'll just say like the final thing I want to say is like the perspective and angle is very important. So, I mean, it just seems like you just want us to vote for you as opposed to you want what's best for Eden. So what's best for Eden might be you or it might be someone else, right? So let's
Most
collectively together, we should all agree, or we should try and figure out who's going to drive the most value back to EOS and Eden.
I can get behind that 100%. Yes.
Agreed. And I mean, that's why at the very beginning, I kind of started by saying that I'm happy to move forward, but I'm also happy to help someone else advance forward. Like that ultimately is the goal, is to kind of, it's not about only about the money, it's about electing the leadership as well. So, but kind of to echo what Josh was also saying is like the fostering things within the ecosystem too, be it developers or, the applications themselves and providing the groundwork for what they need. Those are all things that, resonate with me as well. They're super important. I said this in my last meeting as well, but like we almost ran on some sort of platform focusing on developers to enable applications to more easily build on EOS. But account creation, I think, just slightly edged it out. Or like, onboarding in general.
Yeah, I think one of the advantages of Eden is we can actually fund some of these tools like Anchor. Whereas like for projects, they can kind of run, raise funds a little bit easier than wallet and onboarding.
We've got 6.5 minutes left before this call ends. So
I think the only reason I wouldn't vote for Aaron is because I feel like Aaron is so involved in busy building that I wouldn't want to put more responsibility on him, which Eden, as a chief delegate, you have more responsibility in terms of, having the calls and the transparency. So, and you don't have to move forward in order to, get more funding for gray mass and more support for gray mass, so I don't know if you feel the same way, Aaron, or.
to a degree, yeah. I mean, it's my hope that we're going to hit a point where I can offload a lot of the responsibility I have so I can be more involved. I do think that should I not be buried in responsibility, I could help lead things pretty effectively. I think over the past years, even way back in Steam days, like I have seen the pain points in these communities, both from the user and the developer perspective. And being able to have the opportunity to share that would be awesome. But yeah, I do echo what you were just saying, in that like we have a lot of responsibilities right now.
So if you're elected for the next round, will you have enough time to do that, and with the funding that you will receive, that you will hire, who's gonna cover your place, or leave some stress from your end so you can focus on both?
That's the hope. I mean, I don't know that I was hesitant to even participate in this election due to the amount of funding that was available, but it will definitely contribute towards at least offloading some of that responsibility. And I think it'll be enough to allow me to participate in these things. I don't really know exactly what the responsibilities are of a chief delegate, and I don't think anybody has a solid like outline of that, but I'm trying to make the time.
There's not any hard responsibilities, but there's I would like to, whoever I vote forward, I want them to commit to doing, upholding the responsibilities that have already been established, because I agree with what's been done. So, and that's, you know, these weekly calls and having this transparency and things like that, which does take up, you know, a good amount of time to organize all that. So
Is the next round the chief delegates, or is that like the end?
I think they're called the head
Final.
delegates, and then there's the
Okay.
chief delegate is randomly selected from that.
Yeah, I see. Another thing I like to vote for people that I know have been in the ecosystem and, you know EOS, know the projects intimately. I think that gives you a better idea of where you think the fund should go. Yeah, having that experience. So we have like 3 minutes left in the meeting. When do we have to lock in these votes? Probably pretty soon.
10 minutes after that
Yeah.
is when the lock-in period
okay.
is. So we have the 3 minutes to discuss amongst ourselves, and then 10 minutes after that to cast
So
final votes before it's locked.
I've voted for Aaron so far. How you guys thinking?
Yeah, I think I'll vote for Aaron. I think let's get some more energy behind account creation and things like that. Would be really important.
Yeah, also for me.
Agreed.
I like
always want to
Lenar's
give back.
presentation.
Yeah.
I think, you know, we should try and help to fund some of the initiatives Lenar's talking about. So
If at some point we hit the stage where there's a lot more meaningful funding, I really hope there are people running on campaigns that can then just start like including the other things along the way as people go up. You know?
Yeah.
Not there yet, but we're making good progress. This election has been really impressive so far. Do we have anything to add in the last minute and a half? Are we...
Yeah, I will just say that I always want to give back to Grey Mass, but I never know how. And the least I can do, I can give you back my vote.
Appreciated.
I voted as well. I think only one remains.
Awesome. Well, good luck, Aaron, in the next round. I think.
Good luck,
Yeah,
Aaron.
and reach out to me. I mean, I'm open. You know, send me messages, feedback, whatever you need. I'm happy to have the conversation and listen. So
Really insightful, guys. Thank you. I appreciate everybody.
thank you all as
Absolutely.
well.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Good luck,
Thanks,
Aaron.
everyone.
Bye-bye.